So welcome everyone to this episode of Language Learning Around the World. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And this is interview number 15. And today's special guest is Gentjana Hoxha. I'm really excited to welcome her and hear about her background and experience and expertise. She's from Albania, and right now she's living in Germany. And she's an English and German teacher and has 7 years of experience. She has a master's in German as a foreign language, a bachelor's in German language and literature, teacher education, and a master's in German language, teacher education. She speaks Albanian and German and English and French and Italian. So welcome, Gentjana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeff. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to have this interview.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. So what can you tell us about yourself? Who is Gentjana?
You said my name. I'm Gentjana Hoxha. I come from Albania, and now I'm living in Berlin, in Germany. I've studied German in Albania at the Foreign Languages University, and now I'm living and working in Berlin. I have also studied English at the high school. I've studied English as my first foreign language, then German as a second, and French as a third language. Now, currently, I'm working as a teacher at a primary school in Berlin, where I study students from the 4th to the 6th grade. I teach students from the 4th to the 6th grade. I teach them German and English. And I'm also a teacher for integration courses here in Berlin too. I have actually, currently I have a group with people coming from the Ukraine, and they want to learn German, and I teach them German. These are called integration courses in Germany, and migrants who come from different countries have to learn first the language, and then so they can adapt easily with the country, culture, and everything else.
Wow. Let's talk about your own language learning journey for a bit. So how did you get so good at English? And tell us about your other languages that you know.
Okay, so language learning by me started at a very young age, I could say. Since I was a child at school, we used to get books from the school, extra books with tales, and I got in contact with the book with Sherlock Holmes at first, and I used to read Sherlock Holmes in English at that time, and I don't know, I fell in love with English when I was a child, and it has been like it was stuck with me since then. I wanted to learn more, and at high school I studied, as I said, I studied English at high school, and since then I have been teaching English and also learning it, because you never stop learning a language, and when you teach it you learn even more of this language. After that, I started at university. I started learning German, and so the journey of German and English has been with me since then. I finished my university in Tirana, and I've studied a semester in Austria. And this was very useful for me because I was in contact with the language, with the German language. And now I've been I've been living here for 2 years now in Berlin. And this has helped me a lot with the language, with improving my German, and having the opportunity to teach at a primary school and to teach in these integration courses is also a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity not only to improve and to get better at something, but is also an opportunity to be in contact with the culture, because I come from Albania and some things are different in Albania and some things are different here in Germany, and the work culture is also here different, and it helps you a lot with understanding how everything works in Germany, except the language.
So how do you think your experience as a language learner has helped you as a teacher?
It has helped me a lot. As I said, I didn't want to study German at first. I wanted to study English, but I couldn't, so I was stuck with German, and it was a very difficult time, if I could say it so, for me, because I was studying something I didn't want to. But then I said I have to do my best with what I got, and then I started learning it. At university, you are supposed to study a language, not learn it. And the process for me at the first years, the first and the second year at university, was really difficult, because we had to do grammar in German, the history of language, the history of German language in German. Every subject was in German, and if you are an A2, if you have a A2 level of the language, it's very difficult to be able to study it and to be able to understand the subjects. So I learned it myself. I didn't go to courses. I didn't take courses for the language. I just took time. It took me time because it was difficult. And being in Albania, not having the opportunity to go to Germany or to go to German-speaking countries at first, at the first and second year, it was a bit difficult. Now I know what difficulties the language has, and I know where I have to support my students, where I have to do more. Like, for example, when it comes to grammar, there are specific grammar topics which are very difficult. These were difficult for me too, and now when I teach it, I am I'm more conscious that I have to do more on these topics, and I have to orientate the students around these topics. So it has helped me a lot, because I know what it means to be in that situation.
Yeah, empathy is definitely important for a teacher. So you talked about studying versus learning a language. Can you talk a little bit more about that? What do you mean by the difference between study and learn?
Um, I, if you study, when you are studying a language, it means that you have a certain level. You are not a professionist, or you are not perfect at that thing that you are doing, but you have a certain level of that language. And learning it means that you can be a beginner, you have some basic knowledge, but you are not able to understand scientific language, the scientific language that we find at universities. For example, you have to do with specific subjects with a specific language, kind of language. It's not very easy. You can understand German when you hear a conversation, or when you see a movie, for example, but you cannot understand the language, a specific language that we have at university. It's different.
Right.
There are terminologies that are used in different subjects at university, and there are some other, and there are easier things when you hear the everyday language.
Okay.
That was my point.
Yeah. And you were telling me before we started recording about your interesting experience doing an internship in Parliament for a German deputy. Can you talk about that?
Yes, that was a very unique experience. That was a great experience. Even though we didn't have the opportunity to experience it as a whole experience because of the pandemic, but it was an internship that lasted 5 months here in Berlin. And the first month, the first and second month were like a kind of a training for us. We had to be part of workshops, and workshops about democracy, human rights, and other related topics. And then the other 3 months, we had the opportunity to work at the office of the deputy. And I had the opportunity to be at the office of a deputy and to see how everyday life works in the parliament, how they organize press conferences, how they organize meetings, how they speak about very important topics and very hot topics in the politics and in the European Union. And that was something amazing for me. I had the chance to be there and hear how very important things that are related to us as people, like for example, as people of the European Union, are discussed there. And that was like amazing. And I had also the opportunity to see how the culture works in the parliament. How do they work with each other, and how everything works in the heart of democracy in Germany.
Wow, and you were doing that all in German, obviously, right?
Yes, and I had the opportunity also to learn a lot of new words and a lot of terminology related to the field of politics.
Wow, that
And
sounds
that
like
was
an
yeah.
amazing experience. And so, speaking of politics and language learning, you were telling me earlier about the people that you teach. You started talking about your students earlier during the interview. So can you talk a little bit more about who you teach? You said you have students from the Ukraine, from Afghanistan. So migrants, refugees from Ukraine and elsewhere. Can you talk a little bit more about them?
Yes, actually, currently, as I said, I'm teaching at an integration course where mostly the people that are learning German at the course are from the are Ukrainian, and I have also students from Afghanistan, and it's very interesting to see how they experience the language and the culture that comes with it. They are facing a very difficult time in their country, and being able to be here in Germany to be safe, it's very important for them, first of all. And I, as a teacher, have not only the duty to teach them German and to give them a piece of the culture, and to teach them how everything here in Germany works, but I also have the duty to be supportive to them, because they are facing, as we know, they are facing a very difficult situation in Ukraine. And it's very interesting. Something else, it's very interesting. I have seen that there are similarities between between Albanian and the Ukrainian language. That
Wow.
was for me really interesting. They were speaking their language during the lessons. I said five in German, and they were translating it in Ukrainian, and it was the same word as in Albanian. We say pes, that's five,
Right.
and they had the same word. It was like pesh or pes. So it
Wow.
sounded the same. And when they speak to each other, I'm always listening carefully. And I have also spotted two or three other words that sound very similar to our language and have the same meaning in Ukrainian. And
Wow.
it's very interesting.
Yeah, the relationship among different languages is really fascinating, which we can go on to your
Yes.
presentation next. So we're going to look at how English, Albanian, and German compare. You prepared an
Yes.
amazing presentation. So
I'm going to share it now. So,
all right.
okay. Yes. Now, so this is the topic. This is
Yeah.
your title,
Thank you.
and I've tried to make to make to see the differences and similarities between Albanian, English, and German, between these three languages. I'm not a professionist, so to say. I'm not like in the field of comparing these languages, but I've tried to see in easy words, like in a few words, to see how these languages relate to each other. So this is
Okay.
the language tree.
Right.
And we can say English and German are at the same branch of trees in the
Right.
European languages. And
Yeah.
Albania it's a separate language. I
Okay.
don't know, maybe the other slide. Here we can see it clearer. Albanian is a language that has no connection with other languages. Like, for example, we can see that other languages have a certain connection with each other, but Albanian is separated. It has no connection with other languages.
Wow.
And then I've made here a little presentation in German. We have a more difficult grammar. In English, in my opinion, the grammar is a bit easier. We have the pronunciation in German is easier, except of these letters. We have these are the so-called umlaute.
Yeah.
And then the pronunciation in English is more difficult, because in German we read the words the way they are written. So it's not very difficult. There are some rules. You learn those rules, and then it's easier. Similar vocabulary. We have some words in German and in English which are similar to each other. And then the verbs I have tried to give an example of the verbs, irregular verbs. For example, we have the verb swim in English, swim, swam. Swam in German is schwimmen, schwamm, geschwommen.
Right.
So irregular verbs are like have some things in common. Then we have phrasal verbs in German. They are similar to trennbare Verben. In German, we have verbs that can be divided. Please take off your shoes. Zieh bitte deine Schuhe aus. Take off, it's similar to ziehe aus, ausziehe.
Okay.
That's a verb in German that can be divided.
Okay.
And then in German, it's very interesting. We have very long composed nouns. So this is a word in German, the whole long word. This is a word that it's written together.
Wow.
Kinderspielplatz, it's a playground. This is a compound noun. It's not very long, but we have here another compound noun that's very, very long.
Yeah.
Überwachungsverordnung.
Wow.
That's a whole word. Telecommunications, surveillance, regulation. So that's special about the language. And nouns are written always with big letters in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end of a sentence.
Okay. Yeah.
And article, this is the most difficult topic of everyone who learns German, article. Right. We have, in English, we have the table, a table. For example, in German, you have 6 to 12 possibilities for the in English. The table is old, der Tisch ist alt, I bought the table, ich habe den Tisch gekauft. And then there is also die, them, der, den. So this is the most difficult topic of all for all German learners.
Okay.
These are some words which are similar. Good,
Yep.
Gut, water, Wasser, man, Mann, house, also so house, it's also in German. Wine, Wein, washing machine, Waschmaschine, wash, waschen, moon, Mond, here.
Nice.
So the words are, there are also other words which are very similar to the English language, but I have written these words as
Nice.
example.
Very
And then, yes, then I've also made similarities between English and Albanian. I've found some words which can be identical or similar in meaning, and which can also be like they sound the same, but we can see it now. For example, you, we have it in Albanian, you, it's the same meaning.
Okay.
It's just written differently. That or death in Albanian, is it dek, to die, deka? That's dead. It's like when you translate it, it's dead. And the root is identical, D-E. Nice. So here and here. And here we have C. In Albanian, it's su. That means I. But in South dialect, in south of Albania, it's pronounced C. So
okay.
it's the noun, it's the same pronunciation, but it's written differently. For example, we have door, there, dera,
Okay.
which sounds the same. Night, nata,
Okay.
fia, freak, frika, etc.
Okay.
So these are some, and I have written something here. Maybe it be maybe the same origin of the languages, but it's something that
Yeah.
we don't know. But
Right.
these words, and there are also many other words which have like the same meaning or pronunciation. And then I've written also 3 sentences, one in English, in Albanian, and in German, to see
Okay.
how subject, verb, object, and other parts of the sentence work. For example, I love language learning, but sometimes it's difficult. Më pëlqen të mësoj gjuhë të huaja, por ndonjëherë është e vështirë. Ich liebe es, Sprachen zu lernen, aber manchmal ist es schwierig. So these are the 3 languages, and if you see it, it's like the same structure in building the sentences.
Okay.
It has there are some differences, of course. There are huge differences if we start to see it related to grammar, phonology, and other related topics. But if you see it when you are looking at it first, you say it's the same structure. It's the same structure of the sentence.
Subject, verb, object, SVO.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Here we do not have subject. For example, I, here it's më pëlqen. It is like you don't write I, but it's here in it.
Okay.
It's here. It's not that you write it I, but it's as you said, I like to learn a
Right.
language. That's
So-
the
In Albanian, are you saying something like language learning pleases me? Like in Spanish,
Yes.
it's me
Yes.
gusta algo, something pleases me.
That's it. Me gusta in Spanish,
Yeah.
më pëlqen.
Okay.
In Albanian, it's the same thing. But we also have subjects like I like to learn
Okay.
languages and so on. But in this sentence, it's like in Spanish, me gusta.
Okay. Wow. Very interesting.
So that was it. That was my presentation.
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, is there anything else you want to tell us about your work or your studies or your travels?
I'm going to be here in Berlin for some time. So I'm going to continue working at the school, and maybe in the future I don't know where I am going to be in the future, but it's something it's really important for me. I'm not going to give up languages, and I really hope that in the future I can do a PhD in the field of languages. I don't
Wow.
know what yet. I haven't decided, but I really want to do something related to language learning, and maybe language learning also for migrants, because in Germany there are a lot of migrants and they face difficulties with language learning. And these are some topics which are very related to each other, which are
Right.
important to me. And
That's fascinating. So if you could choose a completely new language to learn, something you haven't studied at all, what do you think you would choose?
I really want to learn Arabic
Okay.
or Japanese, because these 2 languages are very difficult, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no knowledge neither in Arabic or in Japanese, but these 2 languages are different from the languages that I have learned till now.
Oh.
They are written differently. I really want to learn Spanish too. That is really the Spanish language is really, I don't know, it sounds really good. I like to hear it. I like to hear people speaking in Spanish, and I also would like to learn Spanish one day. Why not?
It's very useful. I mean, for me, in addition to improving my Spanish and Portuguese and Korean, I would like to start learning German again and learn to really speak German. But yeah, there are lots of languages I would like to learn: Russian, Turkish, etc. So,
Yes, Turkish.
so Gentjana, thank you for your time today, sharing your experience and your expertise. I really appreciate it. And
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure for me to be with you today.
And oh, you're welcome. And hopefully we can have you on again in the future, maybe when you're doing your PhD.
Yes, maybe.
And thank you everyone for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.